So make a window today. You win, you win, you win. You win, you win, you win. For Biafra. Raffle draw. In Finland. In exile. Raffle Biafra Republic Government in exile present a fantastic raffle game. Biafra Freedom Raffle BFR is a raffle sales in support of Biafra Freedom, which will be drawn and prizes given at the declaration of the independent states of Biafra in Finland between November 29 to December 10, 2024. BFR is for everyone amazing. Raffle prize is $20. Total winning prize $10,000. First prize $5,000. Second prize $3,000. Third prize $2,000. For more information and to participate, click https://biafrarepublicgov.org/raffle. BFR is for 2 months only. Hurry up and buy raffle sales for Biafra Freedom today. Buy for your children and grandchildren. Buy for your relatives, friends. Do your part now, because when we give all our needed support, God crowns us with Biafra we long for. Good luck and happy win. Raffle. Every day, we depend on you walking up your man. Say make a window today. You win, you win, you win. You win.
Welcome, fellow Biafrans, lovers of freedom across the world. I welcome you to this platform. Thank you so much for joining us on this program, wherever you are joining from. If you have not yet subscribed to this channel, please kindly subscribe to this very channel. Click the notification bell so that you'll be notified each time we upload a video. Like and share to family and friends. Share to all platforms. Share to everyone that is close to you. Remember, we have a responsibility to carry the message of Biafra to everyone in the world, more especially to educate Biafran people wherever they are, for them to know the right thing to do at the right time. This platform where you are watching this program is Biafra Exodus Hard Talk TV, a platform where we bring information that are coming from the Prime Minister, Mazi Simon Ekpa. We bring information that has to do with the Republic Government in exile, Biafra Republic Government in exile. We bring information on the restoration of the Biafra. In this platform, we say things the way they are. We bring it to your doorstep for you to understand and know where we are.
So by the time the Supreme Court did deliver this judgment, I believe that must be in 2012, 2013, I can't really remember now. And the Eletu family started going around the whole of Osakpa, part of Ajiron, Agungi area, marking buildings, claiming that the Supreme Court had given them 254 hectares of land. I knew something fishy was going on. So immediately I asked a council in Abuja to procure the judgment of the Supreme Court as well as the enrolled order of the court. And we looked at it and we again advised our clients that they had nothing to worry about, because a case was instituted earlier on, I believe that was in 1993, M779/93, I believe. Yes, that case was between the Eletu people and Lagos State government. And the Eletu had settled their claim in relation to the 254 hectares in question. So the doctrine of estoppel in law would obviously have stopped them from claiming anything more. In addition to the fact that the land had already been acquired and then subsequently given out to many people by Lagos State government C of O. So I knew something fishy was going on when they made these assertions. I looked at the judgment. We advised our clients to ignore them, but we reached out so that we could understand the basis of their claim. Long story cut short, the attempted enforcement, we ended up in court. The order for enforcement that they got was quashed. All this is in the book. Then the gremlins sprang up again and went back to the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court, without any basis in law or common sense for that matter, in gross violation of each and every one of their own rule of practice, Supreme Court, without the benefit of survey in front of it, was busy multiplying and dividing land land without surveying, something that was never pled in any part, whether in the lower court, court of appeal, was never raised and could never have been raised.
So I know that it got to a point that the matter got to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court said that the Eletu should get about 10 hectares. Okay.
Yes.
And then, and just a minute, just a minute, and then there was an attempt to file a writ of possession that went beyond 10 hectares. Is that what happened?
Yes.
So I want our viewers to follow that sequence.
Let me share that with you. So there was a previous case that I have mentioned, M779/93. It was a case involving the Eletu and Lagos State. And in that case, a settlement was reached. Eletus were to accept 10 hectares of land in full and final settlement of their claim against Lagos State. The same Lagos State against whom they had settled were the ones who issued title to everybody because they had by then acquired each and every land in the Lekki Peninsula. They revoked all rights, customary and statutory, to every land in the entire axis, gazetted it, and subsequently, when they settled with the Eletu, that was filed as the judgment of the court. So the Eletus could no longer be asserting any claim. And that was what the Supreme Court said, that what you have been given in M779, the Supreme Court was careful. It was Aka's JSC that delivered the lead judgment. And he said clearly that the fruit of their judgment given in M779/93, they should go and enjoy it. That is their own, which are the 10 hectares. So by the time they got to Lagos to file for enforcement, somebody fraudulently, I repeat it again, fraudulently underlined the consenting judgment of Roosevelt, JSC as it then was, where he said they had unextinguished equitable interest in 254 hectares. Unextinguished equitable interest. Where that equitable interest is supposed to stand is left to him, but it was something said in consenting to the judgment of Akaas, which gave only 10 hectares. They then underlined that portion of the judgment without the enrolled order of the Supreme Court. They came to Lagos State and applied for a writ of possession, and they got it from the judge in Lagos State, the admin judge in the Lagos division, gave them a writ of possession for 254 hectares.
Instead of 10.
Instead of 10, which was what the court gave. She proceeded to issue a writ for 254 hectares. So when they attempted to enforce this, of course, we resisted enforcement and then went back to court. Remember this, they never filed the enrolled order of the Supreme Court in getting that order to enforce judgment on 254 hectares based on the consenting judgment of Roosevelt, where he was talking about unextinguished equitable interest. So when they attempted this enforcement, we resisted it, wrote multiple petitions, including ones asserting criminal allegations against the lawyers who are attempting to enforce this fraud. And eventually, as I narrated in the book, that order was quashed. When the order was quashed, the beneficiaries of the original fraud ran back to the Supreme Court that whatever it was they might have agreed as between themselves hasn't been delivered because this troublesome lawyer in Lagos has this judgment that has this ruling that has quashed the thing. So they now resorted, they claimed that they had a clerical error to correct. Supreme Court became mathematician. They were removing, subtracting, adding. Survey that nobody ever played. I'm not even sure even they ever saw any survey because nobody was ever served any motion again because the Supreme Court claimed when lawyers rose in the Supreme Court to show the Supreme Court that you cannot do this, they say no, they are not doing anything, they are correcting clerical error. Clerical error. Up until today, they cannot enforce that judgment because they know, everybody knows that it's a fraud.
Interesting, yeah. So, and that's that seems to be the redemptive point about that case. The fact that nobody is trying to enforce it. But it turns out, as was narrated in the book, you made that point that the lawyers who got Supreme Court to now say is 250 hectares instead of 10 seem to fall out with the Eletu family. And then another lawyer started to take the matter up, and the senior lawyer went to ICPC to now challenge that other lawyer. Can you tell us that story, Mr.
No, it's their story to tell. It's not mine. I generally try to avoid talking about persons. The only thing I'll say about that is this. I probably would never have known of the horrible libel that Chief Afe Babalola had against me in his letter to the then Chief Judge of Lagos State, Ayomide Phillips. I would never have known of what transpired if there hadn't ensued this quarrel between Chief Afe Babalola and Lawal Pedro. But it was Lawal Pedro grabbing Afe's clients that led Lawal Pedro that led Afe to go and write petition to ICPC. That was the first time I became aware that something funny was going on. Oh, Chief Afe Babalola, I believe, wrote the petition to ICPC complaining, and I think the LPDC as well, complaining, look, I know that they fell out. Eventually, the matter ended up in the Lagos State High Court. So the only relevance of their squabble, which I know transcended whether it was LPDC or ICPC and then ended up in the court, that's the extent of my interest in their squabble. Because if they were not quarreling, I would have been blissfully unaware of what had transpired.
Okay, now, so let me just say, for purposes of objectivity and fairness, that of course we are open to the names of the lawyers that have been mentioned to also come up with their own side of the story. This is by no means a one-sided stuff. We want, if they want to, we are open to them also giving us their side of the story. The important thing that we're trying to do here is to ensure that there is fairness and objectivity to all. Now, having said that, Mr. Dede, I want us to now move to State of the Nation.
We actually have systemic collapse staring us in the face. If we are going to be able to solve these problems, it would have to be because we decided as a collective that we must change things around. So if I'm speaking only to the judiciary, it's a waste of time.
I understand, and that's actually the basis of my next question. So, when one takes a look at some of these, this kind of situation and several others that we have seen in society, it just reminds you of the imperative of the rule of law. Because, you will, even in this, in the facts that you detailed in your book. So, I'm quite intrigued about what happened between those two lawyers. One seemed to be able to exact a lot of influence on a particular court in Abuja. Another seemed to be able to exert influence in particular courts in Lagos. And this is the imperative of the rule of law. Now, I'm sure that you and a lot of our viewers understand how the rule of law became a question of enlightened self-interest. And that's the point, that's where I'm going, that it is in the interest of all of us, especially the elite, because you don't know when you're going to be out of favor, you don't know when you're going to be out of power. A time is going to come when the only defense and protection that you're going to have is actually that it is the law that is ruling, not your interest not that you have friends or influence. So that brings me to the question of elite consensus. I don't know whether we have discussed this before, but I wanted to take it there, and you are free to take it whichever way you choose. Is it not time for the Nigerian elite, as part of how we can begin to reform our entire society, to be able to say that, look, these are the minimum levels and standards of operation, be it in politics, be it in the judiciary, be it in education, be it in business, that look, these are the minimum. And one of them is to enforce and ensure that we have the rule of law. Your take, Mr. Farotimi.
Me, as you would have recalled from our past conversations, I'm big on linguistic exactitude. So when you use the phrase, the Nigerian elite, question is, who is the Nigerian elite? Sybaritic, myopic, people consumed by consumption. They don't think beyond what they will eat next, what they will drink. That's the only thing that ever crosses their minds. It's just about existing. They don't think beyond their lifetime. All they focus on is in stupid acquisition of money, obscene display of debauchery of all sorts, ever more debased acquisition of the commonwealth. Are those the ones you call elite? Mindless pursuit of money as if they are going to live forever. They live stupidly consumed by the pursuit of money. We don't have elite in Nigeria. We have no elite in Nigeria. If we were a country blessed with an elite class, they would have demanded better, both of themselves and of the society they have built. You know the tragedy of the people you are calling elite? The pinnacle of their achievement in their own eyes is their capacity to buy homes abroad and send their children abroad and be able to take their children abroad. They build things that their children cannot even inherit. They are building a country that their children can't survive in. Are those the ones you are calling elite? Which elite? Nigeria is not blessed with an elite class. Wherever you look at it, whether it's in the academia, whether it's in politics, whether it's in the economy itself, which elite? The only thing they compete about is my private jet is bigger than yours. That's all now. Which elite? What is elite about our society? Exactly what have they done in the society that is suggestive of a people that may be considered elite? What elite? All of them are carrying second passports. Each and every one of the person you may call elite in Nigeria today has a second passport. If the British who governs us indirectly or the Americans who benefit from our putrefaction have not granted them either permanent stay or residence or their passport, their children are carrying it, or they will go and buy one of the Mediterranean countries' passports, or they will go to, say, all these funny countries, Grenadine, this one, that one, each and every, including your traditional rulers, they all carry all these funny passports up and down the place. Are those the ones you are calling elite? Elites living in slums. Those are the elites. We have no elites in Nigeria. Don't let's fool ourselves. We have no elites. So please, stop. You don't have an elite. I'm sorry to say. There is no elite in Nigeria. Please.
But my point, I understand your sentiments, Mr. Farotimi. My point is that we must find, and I know that you believe that a lot of these things are hopeless, but we must, to the extent that we are alive, we must find a redemptive cause. There must be things that... wait, brother, just a minute. There must be things that we should be able to talk about where we can say that, okay, look, this thing is ruined. This is how to rebuild. And that's what I'm trying to get you to talk about. Yes. Okay. Go ahead, please.
Remember, I came into the public space in Nigeria in February 2015. From that time up until date, I warned Nigerians each and every time they were getting to junctions and they were about to make errors. I warned our rulers. I warned the people themselves. Over the years, each and every critical moment, I did not find the peace of the grave. I kept my mouth open. I never kept quiet. And each time, I also offered solutions. I didn't merely lament about the problems. I went further. I wrote down the solutions. So I have never been quiet. I even participated in the last election. I got involved. So I have never been quiet, and I offered solutions. And this time again, I'm not shy. It's the same solution. That's why I keep saying that we are lying to ourselves when we look at sectors. Our problem is systemic. We need to be honest enough to tell ourselves that our situation is abnormal. And you cannot find salvation within the existing system. The existing system is incapable of delivering anything positive. And in the knowledge of that, I have said repeatedly over the years, we need a revolution in Nigeria. The only duty of the conscious is to ensure that that revolution does not become violent. We are already in a tailspin. We are already entering multiple cycles of violence. The only reason the people appear to be docile is because nobody wants to go and fight without purpose. So, those who believe that our system is unsustainable as it is, and I believe that the thing we should be doing is to be discussing the plan for the day after. Without a plan for the day after, what you have is chaos. Nkrumah was very specific. He said revolutions are brought about by men of action who act as men of thought. You don't go onto the street and start burning. It's our commonwealth you'll be burning. But it's within our right to tell our rulers that we can no longer accept the way we are being ruined. It's within our right, even the democratic right of citizens. Even though you might not treat us as citizens, even our human right says that you cannot beat a child and then demand or dictate how loudly it must cry. The only thing that we have failed to do is to organize ourselves in a manner that forces it on the ruiners to understand that we are united in our demand. Look at what is happening in Maiduguri. They told you this dam was going to break. You were told, you knew. Like less than a week before it eventually broke, you came out and said, your team of experts said nothing will happen. They don't care about us. And we can't continue in this manner. And what happened in Maiduguri is not unique to Maiduguri. You find it replicated across the length and breadth of Nigeria. There is no part of our country that has escaped this madness. So why has it become so difficult for us? Because, like you said, you are looking for elite. It is that elite class that should be building the consensus, that should be making the plan for the day after. But where are they? They are drinking 32-year-old whiskey. They are chasing their next big kill. Those are the ones that should now be telling the people that they should be having plan for the day after the mess that we have become immersed in. So when you say solution, the solution is clear. We simply can't continue like this. What you call a revolution is simply a turnaround. It's simple. The military can come with their banditry and then turn revolution into something that is supposedly violent, because each and every military adventurers and bandits call their people. They say Revolutionary Army Council. Bandits calling themselves revolutionary. So they spoiled the name. But what is a revolution? It simply means a turnaround. You have to turn around. If you don't know where you are going, you must at least know where you are coming from.
So that means that there must be some kind of a way to arrange this thing, which is we want to change the system. Now, you've argued and submitted that, hey, look, I mean, we can't depend on the elites, which is another way of saying that a lot, you are dissatisfied with the behavior and the conduct of a lot of them. But my view is that there are enough Nigerians who share your sentiment, who share my sentiment, that things can be fixed. And we must be able to find those people, men and women, and then in an orderly fashion, begin to pursue the ideals that we believe ought to be the replacement, ought to be the anchor for the new system. That's my point about the elite consensus. Of course, I know that, you know, a lot of the description that you have made about the elites, yes, there are those that fit into it. But I must tell you, Mr. Farotimi, that there are enough people who have the right mind, who have the determination and the resolve. Okay? My point is that how do you get those people around? There must be some kind of orderly and something that is within the ambit of the law. Because, hey, in spite of all the disorderliness that you have described, we must find, you know, we still have to use some kind of orderly atmosphere to arrange what it is that ought to be done, because even you subscribe to the idea that you don't want a violent revolution.
There are different prophets sent to different pulpits. I don't pretend to be Yele Showore. I don't pretend to be Peter Obi or Donald Duke or anyone else. I am simply Dele Farotimi. It might very well be that the totality of the purpose of my own life is to point out to the members of that elite class who still retain some basic capacity to think like human beings, to listen to the ranting of the like of me, who is not necessarily particularly sane. So they can then take that and understand maybe all I need to do is rant like I'm ranting, so that the more reasonable and methodical who might be, because you remember, I think it was Prophet Elijah, he was crying to God, I'm the only one that is remaining of all your prophets. God said, shut up. I have 7,500 who have not tasted of Baal's meat. So it is very possible, and sorry? Yeah, I know as a fact that there are a lot of good Nigerians, some of them completely silent, unknown. I'm just the one who is blessed to have cameras in front of me to speak for some of them. They just don't have the voice, or they want to say it and they can't say it the way I'm saying it. But those who are hearing, and it is given to them to organize to begin to talk about the plan for the day after, they should get together and start talking. There are good men in this country. What kind of stupid country would I be in if I'm the only person who is capable of recognizing the truth? It will mean I'm crazy. It's already bad enough that I'm considered mad, but I know that there are multiple persons who also sees the things I'm saying and whose approach are completely different from mine. But it doesn't matter. Whatever approach they have, they are the ones who should now feel themselves propelled to take action.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you so much. And I really, I appreciate that point. And, you know, it answers, you know, my question.